everybody's present. So the prosecution, Ms. Brooks and Mr. Smith this morning.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to you, and you all are prepared to move forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then I have Mr. Hobbs and Mr. Berry, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning to each of you.
Good morning,
And
Your
you all are prepared to move forward this morning?
We are, Judge.
Okay, if we could bring Mr. Gray out, please. Good morning. Is it Colin or Colin Gray? Colin Gray.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is you, sir. All right, and Mr. Gray, is it your intent this morning to have Mr. Hobbs and Mr. Berry represent you in this hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, good morning. My name is Caroline Tyler Evans, and I am the Chief Magistrate Judge of Barrow County. This is the preliminary hearing calendar for the Magistrate Court of Barrow County, Georgia, held this 16th day of October, 2024. The hearing that we're holding today is called a preliminary hearing. They are not the trials of this case, and the results here do not necessarily determine whether the defendant in the case is found innocent or guilty at later trial. The purpose of the hearing is to conduct an inquiry into the defendant's case to find out whether or not there is probable cause justifying the issuance of a warrant or warrants for the defendant's arrest and justifying proceedings further towards the trial of his case. Probable cause means, is there enough facts to cause a reasonable man to believe that the crime charged in the warrants against you were committed by you, or whether the warrant should be changed to reflect the crime, if any, the defendant actually committed and it is misstated in the warrant? So Ms. Brooks and Mr. Smith, if we are ready to go, I will turn it over to you. I asked all the parties this morning, anytime you want to bring anything in the case, we ask that you use the podium. There is a recording going on, so if you would please just use the podium so that the microphone and the recording system can pick you up. Yes, sir. Are you Mr. Hobbs or Mr. Berry?
I'm Jim Berry.
Mr. Berry, yes,
I'm
sir.
the older of the two.
I gotcha. I'll write that down. How about that? Yes, sir.
I wanted to inquire, Judge, I have not seen Rule 22. I know there are a number of.
So in magistrate court, it's a Rule 11. We do have one that's been filed, and it is next door. I'll be happy to go get you a copy if you'd like that this morning.
As long as it has been filed, I trust the court.
It has been filed, yes, sir.
So,
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you, Judge.
Anything else that
Yes,
we
Your
need
Honor,
to?
just
Yes, sir.
based on that same issue, so these mics are cold, my understanding?
That is
And
correct.
that mic is hot.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Also, the flat microphone is for the recording system. So you see the flat microphone on the podium?
Yes, sir.
There's one at the witness desk, and there's one up here for me. They are this right here. This is for the recording system itself. It is very sensitive, so just make sure that if you are speaking with your client this morning, you can either tell us to pause the recording so it does not pick that up, or just be aware that it's very sensitive, even if the one's up here. Okay? Yes, and if you wanted to use those microphones just for audible reasons, that's certainly fine too, but those are covered.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Smith or Ms. Brooks, you will call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. State calls Lucas Byron to the stand.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Judge.
Could you raise your right hand, please? Swear the testimony you give in the matter now pending before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay. Have a seat, please. And if you could introduce yourself to the court.
My name is Special Agent Lucas Byer. I'm with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Take your attention back to September 4th of this year. Were you involved in an investigation involving a shooting in Apalachee High School?
Yes, sir, I was.
Tell us how you became involved in that.
On September 4th, in the morning, I was located at the the GBI's Athens Regional Office. We were notified of an active shooter situation at Apalachee High School, and myself and a number of other agents from the Athens Regional Office dispatched ourselves to the high school in order to assist, and we were ultimately tasked with the investigation.
Okay. As part of your investigation, were you able to look at surveillance video that was captured by the school surveillance system?
Yes, sir, I was.
Okay. And were you able to see all the video that pertained to Colt Gray arriving at the school up until the point he was apprehended?
Yes, sir. I was provided a number of video clips, and the video clips included footage from a school bus, hallway surveillance video footage, and also surveillance video footage from within classrooms.
And based on this footage, were you able to piece together Colt Gray's movements throughout from when he arrived at the school until he was apprehended?
Yes, sir, I was.
Okay. Were you able to, at that time, how did Colt arrive at the school?
Colt Gray arrived to the school via a Barrow County school bus. The school bus picked him up from his residence at approximately 7:46 a.m. on September the 4th, and he boarded the bus, and it transported him to Apalachee High School.
Okay. When he boarded the bus, did he have a firearm on him or with him?
It was not immediately obvious, but through other investigative acts that were conducted in the case, we did determine that he did have a firearm in his possession when he boarded the school bus.
How was it concealed when he boarded the school bus?
The firearm was located in his book bag. It was a rifle, so it was long, so it did not fit in his book bag entirely. We determined that the rifle was protruding out of his book bag, and that the part of the rifle that was protruding from the book bag was concealed with a rolled up poster board. And just by a quick glance, it appeared that Colt Gray was possibly transporting a school project.
Okay. And when he arrived at the school, where did he go?
After arriving at the school, Colt traveled to his first period class, which was in classroom number 1.515, and that was located on the G Hall of Apalachee High School. It took him maybe 2-3 minutes to travel to the classroom after getting off the bus. During that time, based on my review of the surveillance video, it did not look like he engaged with any other students, and he maintained control of the book bag the entire time.
When he was in the classroom, his first period classroom, did he leave the classroom at any point?
Yes, sir. He did leave the classroom at approximately 8:30 a.m. Colt Gray got up and spoke to the first period teacher, who we identified as Miss Suzanne Harris. It appeared that he asked to use the restroom. Surveillance video showed him exiting the classroom, traveling up G Hall, and then ultimately entering a student restroom that was located on G Hall. He was in the restroom for a few minutes, and then he returned to the classroom and appeared to continue with the lesson plan for the day.
Did he stay in the classroom for the remainder of first period?
Yes, sir, he did.
What happened when first period ended?
After first period, Colt Gray left the classroom with the book bag with the poster board still inserted in it in his possession. He then traveled through K Hall and ultimately turned onto J Hall, where his second period classroom was located. The second period classroom was identified as classroom number, classroom number 2.151, and the teacher of that classroom was identified as Miss Catherine Greer. It was a math class.
Okay. And what did he do once he arrived in the classroom?
Mr. Gray sat down at a desk, and he propped the book, or he placed the backpack on the floor, propped the poster board against the desk, and it appeared that he was preparing for class. He, at one point before class actually started, he produced a black notebook or binder from his backpack, opened it and placed it on his desk, and then he sat there for several minutes on his phone. It wasn't clear if he was typing or texting or what he was doing on his phone, but he was actively using his phone.
Okay. How long did he stay in that classroom? I don't need the exact time period. When did he leave the classroom?
He left the classroom at approximately 9:54 a.m. So he was in the classroom for approximately 20 minutes or so before he left. Based on information obtained during the investigation, Mr. Gray asked the teacher, Ms. Greer, if he could leave the class in order to go see the counselor. She granted him permission to do that. He obtained a hall pass from the classroom, and then he departed the classroom.
Did he take anything with him when he left the classroom?
He took his book bag.
Did he leave anything in the classroom when he left?
Yes, sir. He left the black notebook that he had placed on the desk.
And was it still open?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay. Before we follow Colt Gray, let's stay with that black notebook. Were you able to follow the video as far as to what happened to that black notebook?
Yes, sir. During my review of the in-classroom camera from that particular classroom, the notebook remained on the desk for an extended period of time. It remained open up until the point where a student that was seated next to Colt Gray closed the notebook and placed it on a whiteboard that was behind her. And the notebook remained in that position throughout the remainder of the day. While, of course, after the shooting occurred, while GBI crime scene agents were processing the scene, that notebook was recovered.
Okay. Now let's go back to Colt. So when Colt left the classroom at 9:54, is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
At 9:54, where did he go?
He went to a restroom, a student restroom located on J Hall.
Did he take the book bag with him?
Yes, sir, he did.
Okay. And were you able to determine what stall he went? I know not from camera video, but from other investigations later, were you able to determine what stall he went into?
Yes, sir. Of course, there were no cameras inside the restrooms, but upon a inspection of that restroom area, there were some items of evidence that were associated with Colt Gray inside the first stall within that restroom.
Okay. How long did Colt Gray remain in that restroom?
He remained.
I don't need you to do math on the stand. If you'll tell us.
I
when
appreciate
he left.
that, sir. He exited the restroom at 10:21 a.m.
Okay. And what did he have with him when he exited at 10:21?
At the time that Colt Gray exited the J Hall restroom, he was wearing yellow gloves that he had not previously been wearing. The white poster board that had been inside the backpack was no longer there. He was carrying the backpack in his left hand. The white poster board was. He appeared to have it wrapped around his lower torso as if to conceal something.
Okay. Where did he go at that point?
Mr. Gray proceeded to return back to his second period classroom, which was classroom 2.151.
What happened when you arrived there?
The door to the classroom was secured. Based on video footage, it appeared that Mr. Gray stood outside of the classroom door for approximately a minute. At some point, I should note that none of the video that I reviewed had any audio associated with it. But based off the reaction of students in the classroom, it looked like Mr. Gray may have knocked on the door. A student stood up and appeared to be preparing to open the door. She observed Colt through the door's window. In her reaction, she backed away from the door. She put her hand over her mouth, and she appeared to get the attention of Miss Greer, who also went to the window, observed Mr. Gray, and immediately told students to get into the corner of the classroom. Ms. Greer then took control of a badge that she was wearing and pushed a button that initiated a lockdown procedure.
Okay. What did Mr. Colt Gray do at that point?
Colt Gray moved to his left and went to the door of classroom 2.152, which was identified as Miss Cassie Ryan's classroom. He entered that classroom and proceeded to fire the rifle into that classroom.
Did he fire it one time or multiple times?
He fired multiple times.
Okay. Were you able to tell about how many times or from the video?
No, sir. Once Colt Gray started discharging the rifle, there was a lot of dust and debris that obscured some of the camera footage. So I was not able to determine based off that video how many times he discharged the rifle. but it was clear and obvious that he did discharge the rifle multiple times.
Were people in that classroom struck?
Yes, sir.
Do you know about how many?
I believe it was 6 or 7 individuals were injured in that classroom.
And was anyone killed in that classroom?
Yes, sir. Student Christian Angulo was killed in that classroom.
Okay. How long was Colt in the classroom? Again, I don't need you to do math. You'll just tell us about what time he left the classroom.
His actions in that classroom were approximately 7 seconds.
Okay. And what did he do when he left that classroom?
He backed out of the classroom, and he proceeded to run down J Hall in the direction that he had originally come from the bathroom. So he ran back towards the in the general direction of the bathrooms. While he was running, video footage showed him in possession of the rifle, carrying it, and at approximately 11:29, or excuse me, 11. Correction, let me start that over. At approximately 10:22 a.m. And 29 seconds, the video depicted Colt shouldering the rifle, aiming it, and discharging several rounds. And those rounds impacted teacher Christina Ermy.
Was she struck?
Yes, sir, she was.
And did she die from her injuries?
Yes, sir, she did.
Okay. What happened at that point with Colt?
Almost immediately after firing at Miss Ermy, Colt turned his attention down I Hall.
Did he go down I Hall, or did he just turn his attention that way?
He just turned his attention that way. He did not access I Hall. I Hall and J Hall intersect, and when he reached that intersection after firing at Miss Ermy, he turned his body and the rifle towards I Hall, but he did not travel down I Hall.
Okay. What did he do when he turned his attention down I Hall?
He observed Coach Aspinwall and Coach Phoenix, and video depicted him discharging multiple rounds towards the coaches.
Were they struck?
Yes, sir. They were both struck.
And did Coach Aspinwall, was he killed by his injuries?
Yes, sir. He was.
And was Coach Phoenix killed?
Coach Phoenix was not killed. He was severely wounded.
Okay. What happened with Colt at that point?
Colt continued traveling down. He turned his attention back down J Hall. Video footage appeared to show him searching for more targets or trying to access other classrooms. He didn't pull on any door handles. I believe he was just looking for open classroom doors. Once he reached the end of J Hall, he stopped and turned around, and it was that point that another student exited the restrooms.
Who was that student?
That was student Mason Schermerhorn.
Mm-hmm.
Colt Gray was positioned behind Mason at a distance. Mason did not see Colt initially, and the video footage depicted Colt again shouldering the rifle, aiming, and discharging multiple rounds at Mason Schermerhorn.
Okay. What did Colt do at that point?
Shortly after...
I'm sorry. Did Mason Schermerhorn, was he struck by the...
Yes, sir, he was.
And was he killed by the actions of Colt?
Yes, sir, he was.
Okay. What did Colt do at that point?
At that point, within a matter of 2 or 3 seconds, 2 Barrow County Sheriff's Office school resource officers entered J Hall. They had their weapons drawn and aimed at Colt, and it appeared that they were issuing verbal commands. Colt placed the rifle on the ground. He raised his hands, ultimately laid down on the ground, and surrendered himself to the school resource officers, who were able to take him into custody.
Okay. And was the firearm taken into custody at that point?
Not at that point. It remained where he dropped it, and the firearm was ultimately recovered by GBI crime scene agents during the processing of the scene.
And what kind of firearm was that?
It was a black in color Sig Sauer Sig M400 rifle. There was 1 magazine loaded in the rifle, which was found to contain 18 rounds, and there was also 1 round in the chamber of the rifle at the time of recovery.
What was the capacity of that magazine?
The capacity of that particular magazine was 60 rounds.
Okay. Were there other magazines found in Colt Gray's possession?
Yes, sir. There were an additional 3 magazines located in his possession, one of which was a 30-round capacity magazine. and there were additional 60-round capacity magazines in his possession.
And what type of ammunition was used in this attack?
Based on crime scene examinations, the ammunition was all 5.56 or 223 ammunition. Most of it appeared to be Winchester branded ammunition.
I want to take your attention back to the notebook that Colt had left in the classroom. Could you basically describe, was that notebook, I think you said earlier, recovered by crime scene specialists with GBI?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And were you able to see what was inside that notebook?
Yes, sir. What was inside the notebook appeared to be writings and drawings from Mr. Gray.
Okay. And what were those writings and drawings?
There were various writings. There was a 2-page section in the notebook that appeared to be a written plan of how to execute the shooting. There were also various sketches that appeared to depict Miss Greer's classroom.
And was that sketch accurate with what you saw as the layout of her classroom?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay.
There were also some additional writings where it appeared that Mr. Gray was estimating possible casualty counts.
Okay. And you could describe, you said there was one, the detailed planning of it.
Yes, sir.
You could describe that to us.
Would you like me to read it, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, this is a quote from the pages that were in Mr. Gray's notebook. Second, walk from first to the bathroom, so I'll set my bag down, open it, put on a vest, take a moment or two to stay calm and really think about if I want to do this. Take out the poster covering the rifle, take out rifle and prop it against the stall. Vest should be on at this point. Get out gloves, put them on, they're in your backpack. Clap a few times to make sure they're on tight. Once done, zip up backpack. Check mag slots in vest. At this point, there's a diagram that's drawn depicting the rifle magazines. Next page. Onto the thing. Wait a bit. Make sure no one was walking in or out of the bathroom. Gloves should be on. Take out your 60 rounder and put it in and chamber around. Okay. Turn on your red dot. Aim down at the floor. Make sure your sight is on. Check your vest and make sure it's on tight. Once done, check stock to make sure it's in your preferred setting. Put on hat. Make sure hair is out of your face. Set backpack to the side. Pick up rifle with right hand. Open stall door with left. Don't shoot anyone in the bathroom. You'll alert people.
You said that he had an estimate on casualties.
Yes, sir.
What was that?
There was a page in the notebook identified. Excuse me. The top of the page is labeled hallway and classroom. In the hallway column, it's written, I'm thinking 3 to 4 people killed, injured, ? 4 to 5. Under the classroom column is written 15 to 17 killed, injured, ? 2 to 3. Further down the page is written classroom 2, 3 to 5 killed, injured, 2 to 3. And in parentheses off to the side, it says, surprised if I make it this far.
And this was all in the notebook that was found in the classroom that he had left when he went to the bathroom.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
I want to take your attention now to another part of your investigation. Did you interview a Lisa Butler, who was a counselor at the Apalachee High School?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. When was it that you interviewed her?
I interviewed her on September the 4th at approximately 4:30 p.m. Myself and Special Agent Ashley Isaacson conducted that interview with Miss Butler.
Okay. And what was her job duties and what was her role at the school?
Ms. Butler told us that she was a school counselor for Apalachee High School, and that she was also Colt Gray's assigned school counselor.
Okay. And on prior to September 4th, did she have any interactions with Colt Gray?
Yes, sir, she did. She described having had 2 prior encounters with Colt Gray. The first one was during the week of August the 5th, and that was when Colt and Mr. Colin Gray came to Apalachee High School in order to enroll Colt in the school.
Okay. And did anything happen on that day out of the ordinary?
Nothing out of the ordinary, no, sir.
Okay. And that was Colin Gray. Who was Colin Gray to Colt Gray?
That was his father, sir.
Okay. And did she have the second time she had interaction with Colt Gray?
Ms. Butler described having a second interaction with Colt Gray, possibly August the 14th. She advised that Colt came to her office and expressed that he was suffering a severe anxiety attack. A Apalachee High School staff member had escorted Colt to her office and mentioned at that time that Colt had made comments that showed possible suicidal ideations. Ms. Butler told us that while Colt was in her office speaking with her, he was shaking and rocking back and forth uncontrollably. Ms. Butler stated that she spoke with Colt Gray, asked him if he had any intent to harm himself. He denied that, but she was also unable to get him calmed down. And Ms. Butler assessed at that time that Colt was not suitable to continue with classes on that particular day due to his condition.
What did she do at that point?
At that time, Ms. Butler tried to call, she advised that she tried to call Colin Gray, but he did not answer her phone call. Ms. Butler then requested Colt Gray to call his father using his cell phone, and Mr. Colin Gray did answer that call. Ms. Butler stated that she spoke with Colin Gray, informed him of Colt's condition, what he was experiencing, and what she was observing, and she requested Mr. Colin Gray to come pick Colt up from school. Ms. Butler advised that Colin informed her that he would not be picking Colt up from school. He was working, and she mentioned that he stated that he was stuck on I-85 at that time. He further advised that there were no other family members that could come get him.
Okay. Did she express to Colin Gray Colt Gray's state and what he'd been going through?
Yes, sir. Ms. Butler told us that she did describe Colt Gray's state to Colin, advised him of the anxiety attack and what her observations were in that moment, and how she did not feel that he was suitable to continue classes.
And did Colin Gray ever come to pick up Colt Gray?
No, sir.
On that day?
No, sir. Colt ultimately was able to calm down, and according to Ms. Butler, at approximately 2:30 that afternoon, he was returned to class.
Okay. I want to take you to September 4th. Did she receive any calls that day from Colin Gray about his son?
From Colin Gray, sir?
Yes, sir.
Not that she described to me, no, sir.
Okay. So he never called the school on that day to her?
Not that I'm aware of, no, sir.
And did she receive a call from Marcy Gray?
Yes, sir. She described receiving a phone call from Marcy Gray at approximately 9:50 a.m. Marcy Gray was identified as Colt Gray's mother, and Ms. Butler described to me that Marcy expressed concern for Colt, and that Colt had texted something to her that day that led Marcy to believe that something bad was imminent. She wasn't sure what it was, but she also told Ms. Butler that Colt had a fascination with school shooters and school shootings, and Marcy further advised Ms. Butler that Colt did have the means and access to firearms through his household.
Okay. And how did he receive those through his household?
I'm sorry, sir?
How did Colt have access through his household to firearms?
I did not personally go to Colt's house.
Did Marcy say anything about it?
Marcy said that Marcy told Miss Butler that Colin Gray owned several firearms and that they were located in the house.
Just a second.